Interlanguage, presented to teacher Jorge Enrique Muñoz, presented by Jairo Alberto Salazar Osorio, Luz Elena Herrera Cuesta, Alejandra Parra Gaitán. During this presentation, we're going to present an agenda that includes the following topics: sample of interlingual mistake, sample of one of the central psycholinguistic processes, learning strategies, sample of development mistake, sample of fossilization, bibliography and credits. Interlanguage. The concepts is associated relates to second language acquisition to foreign language learning, and is a type of language, is a system of language that second language and foreign language students use while they're making the way from L1 to L2 proficiency. This occurs and it has certain aspects. It has linguistic transfer, training transfer. What we can see here in the first slide, where the student wrote, "My nationality is Colombian, I have 25 years old," is one mistake, is an interlanguage mistake here he's making, and it's literal translation in the sense of using a very specific structure from L1, as the student would say in Spanish, tengo 25 años. He's trying to say exactly the same thing in the second language, I have 25 years old, instead of using the new rule, the new structure in L2, which would be I am 25 years old. There is a very specific set of strategies that both teachers and students use during the interlanguage stage, and they're called either learning or teaching strategies, depending on who's using them. When students use them, they're called learning strategies. When it comes to be about the teacher using them, it's called teaching strategies. These are very specific strategies where students developing proficiency in second language need some support, some scaffolding. What we can see in this slide is how the students, maybe suggested by the teacher, use some visual prompts, some drawings that would somehow guide her writing. This is a learning strategy during interlanguage. In this slide, we can see that teacher suggested a writing activity about the daily routines of students. One student wrote, he brushes your teeth instead of using his. There's no agreement between the pronouns and the possessive that the student used. We can see that the student hasn't been able to identify that agreement between the pronoun and the possessive is something that he has to look for, that he has to use. So we can tell that this is a development mistake. Eventually, with time and practice, a student is going to be able to associate a very specific possessive with a very specific pronoun. We can also see that student is using all days, your teeth all days instead of every day. That may relate to intra-language mistake. The effects of linguistic transfer from L1 to L2. Interlingual mistakes at early stages can be corrected. With enough input and practice and corrections, students will be able to spot, identify what the mistakes are, and then you make good use of structures from L2. However, if this is not corrected in the right time, students, as they move from L1 to acquiring this proficiency in L2, making the same mistakes over and over, as what we can see here in this slide, that the student is using or is making a syntax mistake in the sense of placing the noun before the adjective, as he would normally use in Spanish. Eventually he could fall into what is called fossilization of mistakes, where the student practiced, internalized such mistakes that made them part of a regular use and made it a normal construction in the second language.